Hello, I'm Alyssa, and today I'm bringing you a slightly belated April 2018 favorites. I was gone for the month of April, but I am back now. And if you're new to my channel and don't know what my favorites are, that's where I list my favorite movies, TV shows, video games, etc. that I love during that specific month. And I do have quite a lot, even though I was on vacation. I do have a lot to talk about, so let's just get started. First off, let's kick it off with the movies. By the way, if you'd like to see the movies I don't mention in these videos that I've watched, because I am trying to watch a movie a day, you can follow me on Letterboxd or check out my blog, alycatgeekery.com. I'd greatly appreciate either of those, or both of those, if you're super dedicated and really like me. But my favorite movies in the month. First up is, of course, A Quiet Place. This is a very well done horror film. It is super suspenseful, intense. John Krasinski did an amazing job both directing and starring in this movie. His wife, Emily Blunt, is great as his wife on screen. And I love the concept of the film that if you made noise, the monsters could hear you and could attack and kill you. So they use sign language in the film, and I just thought that was a very unique concept, and I loved its implementation. And I just loved how claustrophobic and how tense the film made you feel as you watched it. And every time I heard a noise in the theater, I'd get a little bit annoyed because I'm like, shh, they're gonna hear us. Shh, stop munching your popcorn. Jeez. It was so well done. There were a couple of things that kind of didn't gel with me, such as the ending. But other than that, I thought it was a very solid horror movie. It was unique, very well done, and definitely something that John Krasinski should be proud of. Next up is a film that could have been very dry, but it was actually really informative and entertaining, and that is The Post. This was Steven Spielberg's film that he released prior to Ready Player One, and it's based on the true story of how Katharine Graham and Ben Bradley, the owner and editor of the Washington Post, decided to publish the Pentagon Papers while also battling against government backlash and their right to free speech. Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks are great as Katharine Graham and Ben Bradley, and the supporting cast, which includes Sarah Paulson, David Cross, Bob Odenkirk, Carrie Coon, so much amazing talent, was superb. The editing was very well done. It was a quickly paced movie, very eye-opening, and I adored it. Just like I did Spotlight, I really love The Post, and I highly recommend you watch it. The next movie up is one I knew I would love because I love the director, but this could be divisive. But that is Isle of Dogs, Wes Anderson's latest film. It is a very beautiful movie. The stop-motion animation is spectacular. The attention to detail is incredible. The voice cast is just... It's comprised of Bryan Cranston, Jeff Goldblum, Scarlett Johansson, Frances McDormand. Just so many great actors and actresses. And the story is unique. It's about how in Japan, dogs have started contracting dog flu, and every dog that is infected is being shipped to this island. And one day a boy travels to the island to find his beloved dog, and it's about the boy's journey trying to find his dog Spots, but also how the dogs deal with being on this island with each other, how they're dealing with dog flu, being isolated and alienated from their home country. It's very topical. Even though it is a stop-motion animation film, it's not for younger children. Probably not for older children. They might enjoy it. It's definitely aimed more towards adults. It's got the usual quirky Wes Anderson humor. There's a lot of the characters looking directly at the camera, which is a trademark of Wes Anderson's. And I would say if you're a fan of Wes Anderson's previous films, check out Isle of Dogs. You're going to love it. If you're not a big Wes Anderson fan, you might not enjoy it as much. But me personally, I adore Wes Anderson and thought Isle of Dogs was great. The next movie up is one that most people have already seen, but I just now saw it, and that is Spaceballs, Mel Brooks's spoof of classic science fiction films like Star Wars, Alien, Star Trek, yada yada yada. It's so funny. I love Mel Brooks' sense of humor. And I'm kicking myself for not having seen this sooner because it's just superb. I'm surrounded by assholes! The next movie up should be no surprise, but that is Avengers Infinity War. I cannot talk about this movie without basically spoiling the shit out of it. But it was fantastic and surprising, and I just geeked out the entire time. The 2.5-hour runtime flew by. I cannot wait for part 2. It was just so good. And lastly, on the movie front is Rust and Bone. This is a French film by Jacques Audiard and stars Marion Cotillard and Matthias Schoenaerts. And I know his last name sounded weird, but that's how you're supposed to pronounce it. It's about a woman who is an orca trainer who suffers a tragic accident and loses both her legs, and a single father who is kind of negligent. He is very much concerned mostly about himself and how these two meet and how they complement each other and help each other. And it's just a very beautiful and moving story that makes you think, and it makes you both sympathize and kind of hate the characters at the same time. It's a very interesting character study, and I was fully enthralled the whole entire time. Now moving on to TV shows, there's actually a plethora of TV shows that I started watching in April, so let's just get started with the discussion before I jibber jabber. Hello, it's me from the future, because I forgot to add this to my favorites because there was so much and it just went poof from my mind, which it shouldn't have, but that is Lost in Space, Netflix's revival of the classic TV show that was then turned into a movie that everyone hated, but now it's a fantastic TV show on Netflix. It follows, of course, the Robinson family, and it's kind of got like a feeling of Jurassic Park mixed with Star Wars, mixed with maybe Lost, and it's just a wonderful treat. The special effects are outstanding. I love the robot design and the set design, and I love the family dynamics in this show. It's just so fantastic. Every episode is an adrenaline-fueled thrill ride, and I cannot wait for season 2 of the show. Hopefully there will be a season 2. It's fantastic. Like I said, if you haven't watched it yet, get on it ASAP. It is so, so good, especially if you love science fiction. You have to watch Netflix's Lost in Space revival. First up is Santa Clarita Diet Season 2. I adore this show. It's darkly funny, it's gross, it's got suspense, it's got romance, it's got so many different elements that don't sound like they go together well, but they do go together well in this show. And it's really anchored by Drew Barrymore and Timothy Olyphant. I think they're both superb. And just the guest stars this season were fantastic. It really adds to the story from the first season. And I just hope it is renewed for a 3rd season because it's so good, so dark, so gory. I love the freaking gore in this show, okay? It just makes me so happy. I'm a gore hound, okay? Okay? The next show up is Legion Season 2. I adore Legion. I love how much of a mindfuck it is, which is what some people hate about the show. And it is confusing if you don't pay attention to every single second. But that's what I love about it. It makes me think. It's very cerebral. I love Dan Stevens as David Haller. He just knocks it out of the park. I also really love Aubrey Plaza as Lenny. I love Rachel Keller as Sydney. And I love how this season they're really diving into the psychological aspects of these characters. And it's just so intriguing to me. The editing, the aesthetics, the color palette, the soundtrack, everything is so tight and precise and works extremely well together and suits the show perfectly. I would say if you like this kind of material, very cerebral, and I'd say if you're a diehard X-Men fan and you like stuff that really makes you think, check out Legion because this is an X-Men show. The next show I want to talk about is one that actually surprised me by how much I enjoy it, and that is Barry. Barry stars Bill Hader as the titular hitman who decides he wants to become an actor, but of course things get messy and muddled. Each episode is only 30 minutes long and it's just brilliant. It's dark humor. Bill Hader really knocks it out of the park every episode, and it's just I feel like it's such an underrated show. No one's talking about Barry, but it's so good. It's on HBO. Watch it. You can easily binge all the episodes so far. It's so good. Also from HBO is Westworld, of course. This is what everyone is watching, basically. I have so far adored the first 3 episodes that have aired. They've all been very thought-provoking, and they've been action-packed. And they're just improving on the first season, adding more questions and answers, and adding more elements, and I just love it. And lastly for TV is The 100. This is a very surprising show for the CW because it's so dark and gory, and there are some really, really deep topics that are explored on this show, but that's what I love about it. And I love the post-apocalyptic setting. I like the direction the storyline's going in so far this season. And if you haven't watched The 100 yet, because it's from the CW, you think it's a teenage show, watch it. It's not just for teenagers, and it's not your typical CW show, even though CW is fantastic in my opinion. Definitely check out The 100. And finally, for video games I've loved this month, first up is Far Cry 5. I played this with my boyfriend and had so much fun, even though it kind of sucks with co-op that it only affects the host player's campaign. Like, the person who's playing with the host still gets all the loot and experience that you get during the playthrough, but you have to replay those missions yourself on your own campaign. But besides that, it was so much fun playing through this with Sean. Even though I did Leroy Jenkins a lot of the game and he had to save my ass a lot because, you know, I'm not someone who stealthily, you know, takes out outposts. I like to just run in and decimate everything, and that's what got me killed a bunch. Sorry, Sean, but I cannot stop Leroy Jenkinsing during my playthroughs of this. Okay, I just can't. I have to, okay? I have to run in. I have to. But it was so much fun. We had so many moments where we just like started laughing out loud because of what was happening on screen. We both were like, that's the ending? It was so much fun to play with him. That sounded wrong. But anyway, Far Cry 5. I had a great time playing with Sean. If I had played it by myself, I might not have enjoyed it as much, but playing it co-op with him was amazing. And lastly is The Walking Dead: A New Frontier. This is technically the 3rd season of Telltale's Walking Dead game series, but if you haven't played the first 2 seasons, that doesn't matter. This is a completely new storyline. Even though it does have a couple characters from the previous seasons in it, you do not have to have prior knowledge because you play as a new character mostly. And I really enjoyed the storyline this time around. It was very family oriented. I liked the characters, and there were a lot of hard choices to make, and I'm excited to see where they go for the final season of the Walking Dead game. I highly recommend this game because it is so well done. The voice acting, the storyline, the choices you have to make, is so enthralling. So those are my April 2018 favorites. I'm sorry they're a little late and probably a little rushed because there was so much to talk about, but it was a great month, and I had such a lovely time during April. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a thumbs up. Also share it because that helps my channel grow. Also, if you're new here and you haven't subscribed yet but you like what you've seen and heard, hit the subscribe button along with the notification bell so you'll always be alerted whenever I upload a new video. If you'd like to follow me on social media sites, all those are linked in the description box down below. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Peace and kisses. Bye!